YouTube, this is Dawn again, and I wanted to make a video today. It's a little bit different than any videos I've made before or that I even thought about making, but I wanted to deal with how to deal with being down, that feeling of being down. And I don't want to say depression, because I think some people, they hear the word depression and they automatically go to the extreme of it. You know what I mean? They go to the being clinically diagnosed as being depressed, where even if you're not at that level, it can still be a heavy weight. It can still feel overwhelming. And even if you're a kid, you know, and people are saying, you know, oh, they're too young to be depressed. I don't know what makes it the difference between depression and, you know, just feeling down. I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist or anything like that, but I do know that feeling of, you know, sheer sadness, you know, that feeling of not having anything to look forward to. And I think more and more people are having that feeling, whether it be because of social media, whether it be these expectations that we put on ourselves, as we compare to these just unrealistic expectations. I don't know what the cause of it is, but I thought I'd just make a video addressing it and just talking about it, you know. I don't know if I don't have all the answers of how to deal with it. I just know that it affects everybody. Everybody feels down from time to time. Like, that's just human nature. Just how you get hungry and thirsty and sleepy, I mean, I think you're going to have some down periods, you know. And I think it's not so much of trying to avoid having the down times, because I almost feel like anyone tells me, oh, I never feel down, I never have like a moment of darkness, or like, I look at you kind of sideways, like, okay, that person is in denial. But I think the most important thing is not to focus on if you have it. I think it's how do you cope with it. And so instead of putting the energy in trying to fight it, the energy should put in, okay, what are the healthiest ways to deal with this and get through it, and know that it will pass. Another big thing is that it's not your entire existence, even though it may feel like it at that moment. This will pass. And I think, you know, especially for younger people and teenagers and dealing with all of society, is just, you know, I really, my heart goes out to young people, because on one hand, you guys have all of this, you know, the world is definitely your oyster, but at the same time, there is this kind of pressure, stress that I didn't have to deal with when I was that age. And, you know, and I sympathize with you guys, and I think that's kind of the responsibility of the older generation to do with the younger generation, is just to hear you guys, you know what I mean, just to understand. And maybe we don't understand everything, but we can listen and we can give our life experiences and some advice, and couple that with, you know, you guys are intelligent, let me tell you. You little whippersnappers, you guys are a lot more intelligent than I think the older generations give you credit for. And the way that you kind of analyze things, your perspective on things, are like miles ahead of when I was your age. And, you know, there's different factors for that, you know, and that's just kind of the evolution of things and information being available to you guys. But also, you know, there's I think there's a level of just open and honesty that you guys have that I really admire. And one of those things is dealing with depression and dealing with being down. And I see it from, you know, my niece and nephew and hearing them talk about different things and how open they are about it. But how you handle it is so important, you know. And one of the things that I would say that how I handle being down is being, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but being optimistic. And that's easier said than done. But I think if you practice that while you're younger, by the time you're my age, a little older, it will be a lot easier to do. And what I mean by being optimistic is whenever you are faced with a challenge, when you're faced with a disappointment, when you're faced with feeling like nothing's going right, no matter how big or small it is, you have to trust that the energy you put out is what's going to come back to you. And if you settle in that darkness and if you accept it, then it will spread, it will increase. Don't accept it. You can accept what is going on, but don't accept it to define your life. Don't allow it to define your future, because there is so much to live for. You know, there's so many positive things that are just around the corner. Trust me, trust me, trust me. I have been through it, okay? And I'm not saying that I have had the worst life or had the worst experiences in the world, but you know, what maybe gets someone down may not be what gets another person down. So you can't judge, oh, this person has this, why are you down, why are you depressed? No, everyone, life affects people in different ways, and some of them are cut out for this, some people are cut out for that, but you have to worry about you. You have to worry about how things affect you in your lane, you know. And one of the things that I have always kind of believed in is, you know, whether you're a spiritual person or not, that there is an energy that it can be karmic energy or whatever, but what you put out is what comes back to you. If you think positive, if you think, you know what, this is temporary, this is going to, you know, be a life lesson for me, I will grow from this. This will be a story to tell when I'm 90 years old. That's how I live my life. I live my life as, you know what, this happened to me. When I'm 90 years old, when I look back and see how I handled this situation, what do I want to see? What do I want to be able to tell my grandkids how I dealt with this situation? Oh, you got laid off from your job when you were 22 years old and you couldn't pay your rent. How did that shape you? You know, at the moment, that is real. I've had eviction notices on my apartment. Trust. You know, I've been scraping up pennies